Remember that time is money. These are the words that changed the thinking of the entire world, and their author was Benjamin Franklin. Imagine a world where the darkness of the night is only broken by the flame of a candle. A world without lightning rods to protect from nature's fury. A world where knowledge spreads as slowly as words written by hand. Now, imagine one man who changed all of it. And he did so in the 18th century. His name is Benjamin Franklin. A printer, inventor, diplomat, rebel, and one of the founding fathers of the United States. But behind the image of the wise man on the $100 bill lies the story of a person who went through poverty, risks, and dangers to change the course of history. This is not a story about an icon, but about a man who dreamed and created. It is a story of how one boy from a poor family not only lived a life but shaped an entire nation. Our story begins not in lavish halls, but in a modest house in Boston. Benjamin Franklin was the 15th child in a family that survived as best it could. His father, a simple soap maker, dreamed for his son to become a priest, but there was no money for education. So at the age of 12, Benjamin became an apprentice to his older brother James, who owned a printing shop. It was a difficult period. His brother treated him cruelly, and young Benjamin dreamed every day of breaking free from his shadow. But it was in this printing shop that he found his calling. At night, when everyone was asleep, he secretly wrote articles, signing them with the female pseudonym Silence Dogood. His satirical letters quickly gained popularity in Boston, but no one knew who the author was. The truth was eventually revealed, leading to an even greater conflict with his brother. Franklin realized that his talent could not be contained within someone else's printing shop walls, and he was not going to be just an apprentice. All of this shaped his character, a thirst for knowledge, ambition, and stubbornness that would later allow him to challenge the whole world. At the age of 17, after a final break with his brother James, he made the boldest decision of his life. He sold his small collection of books, boarded a ship, and fled. Franklin was not just a runaway, he was almost homeless. His journey to New York, and then on foot to Philadelphia, was a test. He arrived in the city he would later call home, penniless, friendless. With only a few coins in his pocket and 2 puffed rolls, he ate while walking down the busy but unfamiliar street. He was tired, but his eyes held an unwavering determination. Life in Philadelphia was not easy. He slept in the printing shops where he worked and ate whatever he could. But it was here that his talent and diligence opened doors for him. Franklin quickly gained a reputation not just as a fast printer, but as the most diligent and clever one in the city. His work ethic, which he called the morality of the beehive, was impressive. He didn't spend money on frivolous things, he saved, and he worked tirelessly. His writing talent, honed in Boston, allowed him to win the hearts of clients. Thanks to his hard work and wit, he quickly earned respect. By the age of just 20, he opened his own printing shop. It was his first true victory, bringing him out of the shadows. He began to publish his own newspaper, which would become legendary, the Pennsylvania Gazette. This moment marked the birth of Franklin as a public figure. He didn't just print, he shaped public opinion. He wrote about politics, society, and science with wit and insight, using his experience and deep understanding of human nature. The Pennsylvania Gazette quickly became the most influential publication in the colonies, and its editor became a respected and influential man. In this city where he was a stranger, he found his home and his future. And it was here, in his printing shop, that he laid the foundation for his future inventions, political career, and his rise as one of the greatest men in history. Having achieved financial independence, Benjamin Franklin could have simply enjoyed his life, but his mind knew no rest. His true passion was science and knowledge. In his free time, he transformed from a printer into an inventor. He invented bifocal glasses, which helped people see both up close and far away. He improved the stove, making it more efficient and safer. But his greatest achievement was his research into the nature of electricity. He conducted experiments that were both brilliant and dangerous. His famous kite experiment, which he performed in 1752, proved that lightning was nothing more than an electrical discharge. This idea was revolutionary. A world where lightning was considered the wrath of the gods suddenly had a scientific explanation. This discovery led to the creation of the lightning rod, an invention that saved thousands of lives and homes, and which is still an integral part of our lives today. Franklin was more than just an inventor. He was a thinker who believed in the power of knowledge for everyone. He established the first public library in America so that everyone, regardless of their background, had access to books. He founded the American Philosophical Society, where scholars could share ideas. He showed the world that science was not just for the elite, but for anyone with a curious mind. He was a living illustration of his own words, proving that time spent on knowledge is the most valuable investment. After he became a renowned inventor, his talent could not go unnoticed. Benjamin Franklin entered politics, becoming a representative in Pennsylvania. He fought for the rights of the colonies and tried to find a compromise with the British authorities. He was sent to London to advocate for the Americans' interests, but instead of dialogue, he faced indifference and contempt. The British government saw him only as a colonist, not an equal partner. This journey changed him forever. He arrived in London as a reformer who believed in the possibility of compromise, but left as a convinced advocate for independence. He realized that peaceful coexistence was impossible and that Britain would never grant Americans equal rights. When the Revolutionary War began, he became a key diplomat. In 1776, he embarked on the most important mission of his life to France. There, he became not just an ambassador but a true celebrity. Franklin rejected the grand wigs and luxurious clothes, opting instead for a simple, rustic style that charmed the French elite. His charisma, wit, and scientific achievements caused a sensation. His portraits were printed on scarves and medallions, and this popular love for Franklin turned into political support. He managed to convince France to provide military and financial aid, which became a decisive factor in the victory over Britain. Upon his return from France, Benjamin Franklin was no longer just a diplomat. He was a living legend. Despite his advanced age and frail health, he continued to play a key role in shaping the new nation. His wisdom and experience were invaluable. He became one of the few figures to participate in the signing of three of the most important documents in United States history. The first was the Declaration of Independence in 1776, which proclaimed the separation of the American colonies from the British Empire. The second was the Treaty of Alliance with France, which he himself signed and which was a decisive step toward victory. And finally, in 1787, he signed the U.S. Constitution, which laid the foundation for the future government. He was the only one to leave his mark on all these stages. His influence was immense. Even when heated disputes arose among the delegates, it was Franklin who gave conciliatory speeches, calling for unity. He became a symbol of wisdom, compromise, and progress, who was able to unite different factions into a single whole. At the time of his death, he was the most revered American. His life was the best proof that a man who started from nothing could not only reach the top but also shape an entire nation. He was an icon, a sage, a founding father, but behind all this greatness lay an ordinary man with his own weaknesses and mistakes. Benjamin Franklin was incredibly ambitious, and this ambition sometimes made him stubborn and even harsh. His relationships with those closest to him were complicated. The most tragic was the rift with his only son, William. When the Revolutionary War began, William remained loyal to the British crown. This led to a complete break, and father and son never spoke again. His life was far from perfect. He was known for his witty humor, but in his personal life, he had to endure the death of his son Francis from smallpox when he was only 4 years old. This loss left a deep mark on his soul. His reputation was also not spotless. He had personal scandals that became public knowledge. This human side of Franklin makes him closer to us. He was not just a myth who stepped off a banknote, but a living person who struggled with fears, losses, and his own mistakes. His story is not only a story of triumph, but also a story of struggle, which proves that even the greatest figures in history are just people. This is what makes his legacy even more valuable. The life of Benjamin Franklin is not just a biography. It's a true American story that reads like a captivating novel. He left the world significantly better than he found it. From a poor apprentice to one of the most influential figures of his time. His journey proves that perseverance, curiosity, and a thirst for knowledge can change not only the fate of one person but the course of entire history. Today, we see his wise face on the $100 bill, but Franklin's true value lies in his ideas, his inventions, his contribution to the establishment of democracy, and his indomitable spirit that continues to inspire generations. His legacy lives on not only in books and museums, but also in every public library, every lightning rod, and in the very idea of the United States of America. Thank you for spending this time with us exploring the incredible life of Benjamin Franklin. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us which part of Franklin's story impressed you the most. See you next time.